Hi everybody, this is the baseball head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, and welcome back to the baseball head 2. And hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. As you know, I haven't talked much about this, but David Wright, we know David Wright got his number retired. No better gentleman in the game, and he got inducted into the Mets Hall of Fame. Just a great guy that no one ever said anything bad about him. One of the more popular players in baseball amongst the players. Now, in this video, we're going to talk about probably one of the most hated players in the game when he played. He was always voted at the top, along with Alex Rodriguez. That's Derek Jeter. Now, I am not a fan of Derek Jeter because he's a jerk. He's always been a jerk. He's been a jerk to everybody. And we kind of see it when he's doing the broadcast. When he's doing his broadcasting with A-Rod and David Ortiz. Those guys they're not like stiffs. This guy's a stiff. This guy is about as stiff as Joe DiMaggio was when he got out of baseball and wasn't playing. But there's no bigger stiff than Derek Jeter. And people are calling him out. He's got quite the reputation. There are things about Jeter that I know about that's not great. Now, I will tell you a story about him. Years ago when he was back in the 90s. I have a family friends, and they went to Yankee Stadium. They're Met fans, but they knew Jeter's cousin. One of his cousins was a woman. And one of my friends is friends with her. He knew they were going to the Yankee clubhouse. He knew that they were going to meet him. They were going to get autographs. And, my friend and his wife and their little girls went to the ballpark, wanted to meet him and talk to him. And even though they're Met fans, they wanted to meet Derek Jeter. And they were in the Yankee clubhouse, the old Yankee clubhouse. And he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't sign their autographs. He was very rude to them. So I never forgot that story. So he has a reputation that is not very fan-friendly. Right before he retired, they were sort of parading him around the South Bronx like he was always hanging around with the fans in the Bronx. That's a bunch of garbage, a bunch of nonsense. And then they did I guess they did a few years ago, they did the documentary that just glossed over his attitude, his general attitude. Well, since he retired, obviously, I don't know if he knows what he's doing now with his life because now he doesn't own part of the Marlins now. I don't know what he's doing with himself. I know that he does some commercials, these car commercials and different things, but as you know, if you're a Yankee fan, they always have the Old Timers Day, which is a big event for the Yankees. That's a big event. A huge event. Every year. And, growing up, you always saw Joe DiMaggio, Yogi Berra, White Ford, Ricky Mantle, all these guys. All the old timers. But Derek doesn't want to participate. He doesn't want to. He's really the no fun zone. He's a stiff. He's no fun. We saw that during last year's playoffs when David Ortiz was trying to, take Mrs. Met behind the apple at Citi Field, and he didn't have one. He wanted no part of it. Well, this is from Awful Announcing. Usually, I rip into WFAN and their host, but I agree with them here because I don't like Derek Jeter. Okay, I said it already. Headline: Boomer Esiason. Derek Jeter skipping Yankees Old Timers Day a little bit insulting. I mean, come on. You're one of the great players in the team's history. 3,000 hits. Most hits in the history of the Yankees. It's all over the record books. He's got the most stolen bases. He's got the most, I don't know about the most runs scored, but he's all over the place. On Monday, the New York Yankees announced that they will be bringing back their traditional baseball game coined the Old Timers Day in August, which will honor the 2000 World Series champions. But perhaps the most important player on that 2000 roster, who was the MVP of that team on the World Series against our New York Mets, Derek Jeter, will not be in attendance for the game, which WFAN host Norman Esiason took exception to on Tuesday. This perhaps isn't all that much of a surprise, considering that Jeter has been quite open about having no desire to hit again at Yankee Stadium. He didn't have to hit. He could dress up in a suit and tie. That's what Joe DiMaggio did. Jeter attended the event each of the last two seasons but did not compete. instead of answering some fan question in a Q&A from the stadium. Now, if he doesn't want to do that, that's fine. If he doesn't want to compete, he doesn't have to compete. He's telling him he's got to swing the bat. Just showing up is, you just show your face and people go crazy. I mean, look how crazy the people went and they saw Jose Reyes during the Mets ceremony for David. They went crazy. One of those fan questions at last year's Old Timers Day was about whether he would eventually play in the game. He responded to this question by telling Yankee fans that they would never see him hit again. Now, I would mention, Mickey Mantle always played. Jeter's absence was discussed on Tuesday's edition of Geo and Boomer Show. I don't think that's the name of the show. It's Boomer and Geo on WFAN, hosted by Greg Giannotti and Boomer Esiason. Well, Boomer's the headline. This guy, I don't think this writer knows that. I think Boomer's gonna see this. He's gonna get really pissed. Geo better watch out. Greg better watch out. He might load the boom on him, wring his neck, not the writer's neck, Greg's neck. And while both believe that Jeter should be competing in the event, Esiason seems to believe that Jeter's decision not to compete said a lot about his character. He didn't have to compete. He could just show up. Just say, my leg hurts. My knee needs to be worked on. I can't. I mean, 3 years ago when they had Old Timers Day at Citi Field, Darryl Strawberry didn't compete. He said, I can't do it with my knees. He could say that. A lot of this is pride, too. All right. Quote, he has always been a little bit different, said Norman of Jeter. You know that. This is almost, I don't know, to me. It's a little bit insulting. I mean, come on. You're one of the great players in the team's history. The fans adore you. They love you every time. This is why you have gone on to be a very good spokesperson, very good steward of the game, somebody who understands the history, especially the history of this franchise. Personally, I think he should be there and he should be a part of it. I'm not saying do it every year, but at least when they are celebrating one of your teams, to me it's a moot point. He could still hit if he had to. I don't know. I don't want to put myself in his shoes, but it seems like elitist, that's all. He could just show up. Gregory wasn't as critical of Jeter's decision not to play in the game, but he did think that Jeter could, at the very least, attend the event dedicated to his 2000 Yankees team. Derek Jeter not going to embarrass himself, said Greg. I think he would put the uniform back on and look just like Derek Jeter when we last saw him. He's in great shape. Some of those other players showing up are not. I mean, some of them look like Homer Simpson. Really. Jeter is essentially the only high-profile player from the 2000 World Series team that won't be playing in the event, as the likes of Mariano Rivera, Jorge Posada, Bernie Williams, Roger Clemens, David Justice, Alfonso Soriano, and Jose Vizcaíno, among others, have already confirmed. Jose Vizcaíno, he was a Met. Among others, have already confirmed to be participating in the game. But again, like I said, Jeter's a jerk. He's always been a jerk. Okay. The bottom line is it is about him. It's always about him. He doesn't want to hang out. He doesn't want to relive the old times. But like I said, all he has to do, he could go there in a suit. Say, I'm not going to participate. I'll show my face. I'll wave to the crowd, but I'm not wearing the uniform. I'll wear a suit. Okay? People would not take it bad. Believe me. If he went there and wore a suit, be like Joe DiMaggio did for all those years, 20, 30 years, people wouldn't have gotten upset. People wouldn't be critical of him. But, the media's been very critical of him, to be honest with you. Really, the last year that he played for the Yankees, they were extremely critical of Jeter because of the nightlife that he had. A lot of times at night, after a game, he'd go and meet these women. He would meet women in the clubs, and then he would take them home. And then this is all fact. This is all historical fact. You can look it up. And he would spend the night with them, and then he would give them a baseball. I'm not joking. And send them on their merry little way. That's known. That's a known story. Those are known stories that were talked about. And that last year, the media were going after him pretty hard because of his attitude. How surly he was that last year. And we talk about, a guy at the beginning of this video, David Wright, who pretty much did everything right with the Mets. You know, I thought one of the big stories that came out of watching the documentary last week was how when he came back after the spinal stenosis, he didn't force his way into the lineup. He went to the Mets' former manager Terry Collins, said, "Look, wherever you could put me, I just want to be part of the team. You want to pinch hit me? You want to like put me as a pinch hitter? You want me to play late inning defense? Whatever you need me to do, I'll do it." With Jeter, he wasn't like that. We know that when the Yankees traded for Alex Rodriguez, he never left shortstop. Okay? And anybody that watched both of them play shortstop, Alex Rodriguez was a superior defensive shortstop. Jeter could not go up the middle. His first step to his left was terrible. Terrible. He was great going into the hole. We know about that. But going up the middle, he was terrible. His first step was terrible. And A-Rod was a superior. He was one of the best defensive shortstops in the American League. If not, he was the best. And he was probably one of the best shortstops during that time, in the late 90s, early 2000s. Other than Ray Ordonez, he was probably the best defensive shortstop in the American League. While Ray Ordonez was the best shortstop in the National League. He never gave it up. He always was very vindictive towards A-Rod because A-Rod said some things he didn't like. He didn't forget it. Made it very difficult for A-Rod to adjust to be with the Yankees. Now, A-Rod's no saint. He's got his issues, obviously. We know that. But that's what we have here with Derek Jeter. We've seen the selfish side. The right thing to do was to give up his spot to a player that was a better player than him defensively. He didn't do it. He probably would have been better off at third base as the Yankee third baseman, because he just would have been better. It would have been less ground for him to cover. It would have been a better situation for him defensively. But he didn't want to do it. He just didn't want to. He didn't want to make that change, which is unusual. You never see great players. A lot of times great players will do that. They'll give up their position for a player that's clearly better than them. And A-Rod was clearly better than him defensively. No matter what the whole situation with the PEDs with A-Rod, you can't fake. You can never fake that. But that's how Jeter is. This is how he was as a player. This is how he is now in his retirement. He's a stiff. The no fun zone. That's it. Well, you let me know what you think about this video. And I would mention this, of course, is not a insane video. We usually got the funny farm going on to describe it. But kudos to WFAN. They actually got one right this time. Well, sometimes a blind squirrel does get a nut once in a while. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.